Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide, and in today's video we are checking out the Note Max, Boox Note Max again. This time this is my unit, I purchased it, so it's all mine and I do love it a lot. One of the last videos that I've published here was the review of the Dasung Paper-like color monitor, and one of the things that absolutely was a strong point of the Max family of devices from Boox is that they could double as an e-ink screen as well. So much so that earlier Max versions actually had a dedicated mini HDMI port, which has since in newer versions kind of disappeared. So I was wondering, how does Note Max fare as a dedicated screen, e-ink screen connected to a PC, so Windows PC in this case, and also how will those 300 ppi kind of reflect on usability of the device, and also the lack of the speed modes and the ghosting issues? How's all of that combined when you attempt to use the Boox Note Max as an external monitor? Before we start, I just want to invite you to go to mydeepguide.com/shop, where you can find MDO and MMP. MDO is a My Daily Organizer, which is a hyperlinked PDF file or a workbook that helps you organize all of your personal or professional needs on a yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily basis with multiple time formats and week start formats and all of these kinds of things. And it's like a one-stop shop that gives you like a tremendous amount of power with super duper amount of simplicity and ease of use. A lot of work went into making MDO completely out of the way, but also available at your fingertips to just simply focus on your work. And the MMP is the same type of thing, so My Deep Guide Meeting Planner, but this time with the same principles, organized to simplify, centralize, and organize all of your meeting planning needs. And it's the same type of thing, powerhouse, but out of the way to help you move along with your work. You can find links in the description below to get more information about the both of those and see if one or both of them are a good fit for you and your needs. And also just know that purchasing of either of these products directly helps support the independence of My Deep Guide, so thank you so much for that. And now onwards with the video. In order to test Note Max, how it works and is it usable as an external screen, I'm going to use a app that I normally use for these types of situations, because I'm really familiar with it and because it offers flexibility, and it's a really good one. From all of the ones that I've tested, I think it's really good. Of course, you can try and use Miracast and that kind of should work, but for my needs and the way that I wanted to test this as a proper kind of external screen, I use the app called Super Display. Now, Super Display, you need to install the driver on your PC and you need to install the app on the device itself. So from the PC, you can either connect directly to the tablet via the USB-C cable, but you can also do it wirelessly, and there you will have a little bit more lag naturally, but it still works perfectly fine, and it is able to transmit, and you can control your PC via touch input as well, which is quite useful. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using a wireless display here, because the computer is like way back there, and it's the same setup, it's the same computer actually that I've used with the Dasung. And the benefit of that is that it's already set up for a regular e-ink use. That means that on that computer, I'm using a theme, a custom-made theme, so that it works well with e-ink displays in mind. If you're interested more in that kind of thing, well then I invite you to check out the dedicated chapter in the Dasung Paper-like color review video, because that's where I show how the theme is set up and why that's important, etc. So I'm not going to be showing how an e-ink display doesn't work with regular setups, because they simply don't work. If you have a regular type of setup, Android, iOS or something, it's not going to work. It's going to function, but it's going to be a smorgasbord of latency, ghosting and frustration, and it's just not something that's going to work. What I'm genuinely interested in is, in the optimal conditions, can this device be actually used as an e-ink screen? And that's what I'm going to be testing in this video. Right, so I established the connection between the PC and the Super Display app, and it's basically now working. So I'm working on my PC, but I'm able to interact with it with touch, and I can use the mouse here and all that kind of stuff. The visibility and readability is quite nice. You do have the regular functionalities of zooming in, zooming out, so all that kind of stuff. That will depend on which app you use and which connection type you use. And I've set it up so that I have this kind of portrait mode, so I've set it up the way that I would like to use it. Out of the box, it does work. It's possible to use it. Things that I would adjust is basically get rid of the dark color enhancements, do not enable high contrast, and let's leave it in A2 mode, and let's see how that actually works. Yeah, that's now starting to be quite a bit better, and the readability is actually quite nice. So for example, I should be able to just go F11 to go into full screen mode, and now I am working with the touchpad on this keyboard so that I can go through the whole thing and then just see how it works. The thing that I notice, and that is definitely from the wireless display thing and everything, and that's there's a huge amount of delay, and the typing is also going to be delayed. However, the precision is there, and I'm free to use, I am free to use my keyboard of choice, and most importantly, I'm connected to my computer, which means that I can use the power and programs that I normally would. And that's really, really cool. Now, the additional thing that's actually really cool is that I can do this. So because the app supports the touch input, I can use the stylus to interact with it as a touch. And can I do the selecting thing? Well, it depends on the app and on what you use. So in this case, no, it doesn't really work because it's trying to do something else, but let's try and see without. Nope, that's not going to work, because in this app, in Coda, I'm right now in Coda, it's not going to work as expected. However, in other apps, it may well actually work in a proper way. The thing that's not that good is the speed. So this is as fast as the device is going to be able to kind of display it currently. And if you switch to normal, which is like the really, really good resolution, then the interaction is far, far worse. The quality is, of course, a lot better. And this type of thing I would use for reading. And Regal is, similar type of thing. So you definitely can have the best quality that you would the device offers, but the interaction just drops off significantly. Now let's see other stuff, how that would function. So when I go down to, I don't know, what was it last time that I was using, I know how that looked like, so I can zoom in and kind of navigate. So this is actually quite nice. I can absolutely use this for browsing and for reading and for just interacting in a normal way with and using this as an e-ink screen with my computer. So that aspect absolutely works. Let's see videos. I really doubt that it's going to work, but let's try and reject all, and then let's see if we go to full screen. Well, it functions, right? So this is as fast and as good as you can actually have it. In all honesty, the displaying is better than it is in any of the modes on the Dasung paper like. Of course, the speed is not there. Initially, I was thinking that maybe I should do the measuring of frames per second, but there's really no need because this is just slow. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's 8 or 12 frames per second. It's not going to make any difference for real-world usability. The thing that makes a difference for real-world usability is that does it feel slow or fast? This feels slow and it feels delayed. However, my experience is that the delay is not linked to the device itself. That is the app that I'm using, and if I wanted to have like a full-on connection, I would actually hook it up via the USB to the computer itself. That would allow the device also to get trickle charge, but that's not really that dangerous because the charge that you're going to get from a connection like that from a computer is not something that's going to overload or overstress the battery, as long as you don't like hook it up to the charging port of your laptop or something like that. As far as usability, I could definitely use it. It's not something that I would characterize as enjoyable as the Dasung is, for example. Not just because of the color. I mean, obviously the color is the aspect here as well, but the overall interaction and yeah, just kind of how it works, the speed of it. Yeah, it just comes down to the speed of it because it's delayed, and then you can just kind of get kind of weird. But in a pinch, I wouldn't avoid using it for one very simple reason, and that's the 300 ppi, because the readability of this is so crisp and nice, even in A2 mode when there's image degradation. This is really nice to read. But then the question kind of arises, the types of stuff that you would be actually using this for on your computer. It would mainly be coding. That's the only thing that comes to mind in my mind, because I would want access to the shared project and everything like that, and then it would make sense. Everything else, well, for most of the stuff you do have Android versions of the apps, and you can use it better and more comfortably on the app itself, not using it as a screen. Can you use it as an e-ink display? Yes, I think that you definitely can. The usability is going to be limited by the refresh speed, which is slow, and there is going to be delay depending on which type of service and connection you're using with the to connect the Note Max to your PC. The other limitation is going to be, of course, lack of front light and lack of color, so that's something that you have to kind of definitely take into consideration. In reality, what I could do with this, he timed out, but that's okay, you can just tap, but now it's going to be empty because the Windows went to the other screen on the main screen. But kind of to wrap this up, I wouldn't use it as a single display for my computer. I think that would be a struggle. If you want to do that, you definitely need to create a custom theme to take into account the limitations that an e-ink display has. The way I would personally use this or consider using it is as an additional monitor for a very dedicated type of purpose. And in that case, it could be reading something, typing something, or most likely coding something. But even there, the interaction is too slow for my kind of taste. And I don't see myself resorting to using this as my additional display unless I absolutely have to. So yeah, basically that's more or less what I expected it to be, but I was just curious to see how does the 300 ppi translate in the terms of an external e-ink screen, and it actually does translate really well. The ghosting wasn't too much of a problem because we're in A2 mode, so the BSR is enabled. But again, that A2 mode is as fast as it's going to go, and that's simply not really fast enough. So can you use Note Max as an e-ink screen? Yes, in a pinch, and I would recommend using it only as an additional screen to a carefully set up environment, not as a replacement screen for your regular type of setup. And just as a short kind of addendum to this video, because I think it relates, I'm just going to show that you can do exactly the same thing on the Go 10.3, and exactly the same things apply with the addition that Note or Go 10.3 does have an X refresh mode, which is actually a lot faster than the A2 mode. You do have that delay, which is really prominent, especially when the X mode is on, and the degradation of quality is very considerable. So in the X mode, then I would consider using all of this, everything that I can to help it kind of work. But with enough zoom and with enough kind of things, you can make it work. But as you can see, it's very fiddly how it works. So let's try and use the cursor here, or the navigation via the keyboard and a touchpad. And it's there's something very different here. I find the reactivity of Go 10.3 to be much worse than the Note Max. Maybe if I hook up the Go 10.3 with the USB cable, that then it would suffer less. But right now it is definitely suffering, and it's not the type of experience that I would kind of enjoy using. So let's see if it was the video that was kind of getting it to get confused. Okay, so this is a little bit better. So when too much stuff is going on the screen, I think that Go 10.3 just gets a little bit overwhelmed. And even though it can display things in X mode, at least in this combination, not really the best experience. Definitely something is very different with how this works. So for example, here, let's just do a little bit. Let's just do a little bit of typing so that we can see how that works. It's okay, it's slow, it's delayed. And if I go to speed mode, then yes, things look a lot better. But how... the delay is even much more. But how is the delay? A lot worse, as expected. And finally, if we do switch to normal mode, let's see here. There's something going on with the... I don't know, but everything's dirty. Like, you see this? I didn't get to have that on the Note Max, and this is not usual. So the same type of setup definitely is struggling on the Go 10.3. So technically, yes, you could use it for similar type of functionalities, but again, considering that you can hook up any keyboard via Bluetooth or using the USB connectivity as well, I don't really see the reason or a practical application where this would amount to an effective additional display, especially given the size and given the issues that I'm starting to kind of notice here with some dirtiness of the characters displayed and things like that. Maybe that's just the nature of the wireless connectivity, and that when you have it hooked up to a cable, that then it would be cleaner. Sure, and maybe that cable would improve the lag. That I know for sure that it would improve a little bit, but none of it would be enough to kind of warrant the use of this device exclusively as an additional or an exclusive screen. That would have to be a very special type of setup. So yeah, in some cases, yes, but the same type of conclusion extends to here as well, with even more of a limitation mainly because it's smaller in size, and then the readability is going to be a little bit more difficult. But technically, yes, you can do the same thing on the Go 10.3 as well. All right, so Boox Note Max as an external monitor for your PC setup, because that's what makes most sense. For Macintosh, it's going to be way more trickier because of the refresh modes and things like that. But for PC and Android use and even iOS use, you can definitely use it. But as usual, there are quite a bit of limitations, and nothing has really significantly changed with the Boox Note Max other than the alluring quality of that display and that it's more inviting. So that is the only thing that has actually changed, because the 300 ppi at this size makes it a lot more usable, legible and readable than the previous iterations of Max. That is absolutely a big difference that's noticeable out of the get-go. And it is a very nice thing to kind of see and use. However, the lack of responsiveness and the lack of refresh modes and some of the ghosting wasn't such a big deal, but it was mostly the refresh speed. I think that it just makes it very limited set of conditions when this would make sense. So I think it just comes down to what I've already mentioned, a really simple kind of thing. Note Max as an external screen, as a primary screen for your device, I don't think that that's going to work. As an additional screen for very specific set of circumstances, yes, there it might make sense, but even then the overall experience is not going to be really super duper smooth or pleasant or anything like that. So definitely usable, but is it something that you're gonna prefer and gravitate to? I'm not really sure. Let me know what you think and what are the use case scenarios that you may want to use a device like this as, as an external screen, and if it would work for you as a terminal kind of thing, or I don't know, something. Just let me know what are the typical use cases that you might be considering Boox Note Max as an external screen to use for. I hope that you found the video informative and or useful. If you did, please like, subscribe and ding the notification bell, and stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!